What makes Iranian Americans so unique? I'll start with you, Azhar.
Well, one of the unique things about America, actually, is that you can bring your past with you. So being an Iranian-American, every nationality brings their own uniqueness and originality with them. I have always felt that being an Iranian and an American at the same time, I can constantly look at the two cultures through the alternative eyes of the other. And each of them gives me a fresh view of the other. And sometimes living in America, the gift that one brings from Iran is reminding this country of things that it takes so much for granted.
And Babak, I had two guests on last night. One of them said that they believe that this was a civil rights movement with the likes of the civil rights movement here in the 1960s. Do you agree with that?
The civil rights movement, yes, I'll take this back to the founding of the Constitution and this government. Iranians feel like they have a chance to make a monumental change in their future by developing some kind of a constitution, some kind of a secular democracy. I think there's going to be change in Iran. There's definitely change happening now. This movement is not over by far. This is going to be a war of attrition. There's days ahead, there's religious holidays, there's political holidays that this movement is going to keep going on. And I think there's an agreement that the people want freedoms. Now, as to what form that should take, I think we need to leave that to the Iranian people. We need to make sure that there's access of information, the airwaves are open, that the Iranian children, these videos that you're sending out, these kids and these young people, can get that information out. So if we ever have change in the future, it doesn't get hijacked. It's the will of the people.
Rudy, you know, there have been some critics from Iranian Americans saying that the Obama administration hasn't done enough, that he hasn't been out there enough and saying enough about this, you know, cusp of a revolution in Iran. Do you agree with that? Have you heard that criticism?
Of course I've heard that criticism, and in the beginning, in June, when all of this was happening, there was a strong push for the Obama administration not to get involved at all, saying that it would weaken the Green Movement, that any efforts on the part of the U.S. would weaken the Green Movement. But we heard from the people of Iran on the streets of Tehran not long ago uttering a chant which is Obama, Obama, ba unai ya ba ma, which means, are you with them, Obama, or are you with us, Obama? A very strong signal from the people of Iran that they need the support of not only America, they need the support of the world. They need the world to make sure that they're watching these human rights violations and holding this government accountable.
You know what, that's a good point that I want to talk to Maz about, because you talk about the influence of Washington, D.C., but also Hollywood has a huge influence as well. Out there in Los Angeles, where you're in the acting world and the comedy world, what are people saying? Is there, you know, are Iranian Americans prominent in movies? Is there enough of a movement that there is, you know, some oomph behind the Iranian revolution or message?
Well, you know, Don, I mean, we obviously have had many years of negative stereotypes. Like, I know everyone on your panel is familiar with Not Without My Daughter, which was a film that made dating for Iranian men very hard in America. But right now, there's a lot of change happening. There's actually a TV pilot for ABC called Funny and Farsi, which is an Iranian family living in America. It's from a book by an Iranian author in America named Firoz Duma, which could help present more Iranians to the Western world. And I think that what's happening right now with the Green Movement as well is we're seeing Iranians fighting for democracy and freedom and doing things that we had never known Iranians as. In the past, we'd always known Iran as the place where the hostages were taken, or again, the Not Without My Daughter type example. But now I think the West is seeing, and the rest of the world is seeing, that Iranians do want democracy, we do want freedom, and we're good people. And I think that there's these movements happening within Hollywood as well. The movie Prince of Persia is coming out, which I believe presents us in a positive light. Yeah. So it's going to be like good things happening.
Maybe it'll be like Bollywood. It'll be Iraniwood or something like that. So Maz Babak, Azhar, and Rudy, thank you all. Happy New Year to you. Okay, and best of luck.
Thank you.